Hey, welcome to BODHI Yoga Online. I'm Krista Cahill, and Chris is demonstrating some asanas for me this morning. We're going to take a 90-minute vinyasa flow practice. So I invite you to come to your yoga space. We're going to start lying on our backs, so you can take a shavasana-like position when you feel ready. Relaxing your shoulders and your arms and legs for a few moments. And just close your eyes. You don't have to do any kind of special breathing. We'll use this time just to check in and see how things are feeling. So maybe you need to start by just taking a deep exhalation and clearing the energy out from wherever you just arrived from, and then just start to mindfully construct a breath that is not forceful, but yet mindful and very gentle. The breathing is the main thing that affects our autonomic nervous system. And by breathing slowly and mindfully without force, we can actually reset and create a rest digest. And when we're resting and digesting, we will start to just lose and let go of unnecessary tension in the muscles. This will make your yoga practice much more enjoyable. Just follow the breath. Don't control it. Just be in the moment. Observe if you have any intentions other than just taking care of your body this morning. Perhaps you have a mental intention or something on your heart which is really obvious to you. Acknowledging all of those more subtle concepts as they, of course, influence our experience. And when you're ready, you're going to bend your knees. Set your feet flat on your yoga mats and take your arms overhead into a little stretch. Feel how the arms and shoulders pull the spine up away from where it attaches into your pelvis. And now hug your knees in towards your chest. You could use your hands to give you a little squeeze. Okay, we're going to start with Jari Tari Parvattanasana, which is an abdominal sequence. So if you're pregnant or if you're trying to get pregnant, you can just take a gentle twist instead of doing these abdominals. So for those of you who are going to join us, open your arms in a giant T shape and then turn your palms over, pressing your hands into the ground. Now on your next exhalation, you're going to keep your knees as close to your chest as possible, but drop your knees over towards the right armpit. And gaze, if it's possible, towards the left shoulder and breathe here for 3, 2, 1. Bring your gaze and knees center, inhale. And then take your knees over as close to your chest as possible towards the left armpit, gaze towards the right shoulder. And we're going to stay here for 3, 2, 1. Now at tempo with the breath, inhale, center. Exhale, knees right, gaze left. Inhale, center. Exhale to the left side with the knees, gaze with the right side. Inhale, center. Exhale, knees right, gaze left. Inhale, center. Try to keep your knees together. Exhale, knees left, gaze right. Inhale, center. And now we can try to do it with straight legs. So show Chris with your heels up flexed. Exhale, lowering your heels to your right hand to hover, looking to the left. Inhale, center. Exhale, bringing the heels to the left hand, gaze to the right. Inhale, center. Exhale, bring your feet to the right hand, hover, gaze to the left. Inhale, center. Exhale to the left hand, gaze to the right. Inhale, center. One more time. You're going to lower your feet over the right hand, look to the left. Inhale, up center. And finally, to the left hand, gaze to the right as you exhale. Inhale, center, super. And then exhale, hug your knees in and give yourself a little squeeze. Okay, now let's take a single leg twist. So keep the right knee with your hands, extend your left leg forward. Okay, now you're gonna take your right hand up, but you're gonna make a fist and you're gonna press the ulnar wrist point into the ground and you're gonna turn your, just so this part is on the ground, that's it. So you're pressing your hand and your outer wrist down. And now you're gonna scooch your left hip underneath you a little bit as you go over to the left side with your right knee. So you wind up on the outside of your left hip and thigh. And just with a very gentle karate chop of the outer right wrist, that's called the ulnar wrist point, you will start to be able to put the shoulder blade onto your upper right back, and it will facilitate a turning of the more sticky upper thoracic spine. Again, just breathing in a very smooth and relaxing way. So you're not causing or creating tension in your throat or your neck. One more breath. And now you're going to bring yourself back to center and center your hips on the mat. Hug your knees in, give yourself a little gentle side to side. And then when you're ready, you can extend out your right leg, your left arm in the fist, and you press the ulnar wrist point down. And then you're going to move your hips slightly underneath you to the left and the knee over to the right side. So you wind up on the outer right hip and thigh. It doesn't matter if the bent knee touches the ground. Don't worry about that. And as you gently karate chop the left outer wrist down, it's going to bring the left shoulder blade flat onto your back. And you'll be able to feel that assisting the upper part of your back moving and twisting. And on your next inhale, come back to the center, move your hips back onto the center of the mat and hug your knees towards your chest. This time you're going to rock towards the sacrum and shoulders up and down, gaining a little bit of momentum in your spine. And then when you're ready, you're going to rock all the way up and we're going to come to the hands, knees position in tabletop. So organize your hands to be specific to your body. So sometimes you need to turn your hands out a little bit or have your hands wider because of the angle of your arms or something you have going on in your shoulders. So be aware and mindful of what you need. And your knees are underneath your hips. Ideally, you're pressing the tibia, which is the lower leg bone where it meets the ankle, down into the ground. So do that to the best of your ability. Okay. Now we're going to do simple cat and cow, which is not so simple. So there is a sequence in the spine. So when we round our spine going into a backward rotation, it starts with the pelvis right above the sacrum where the lumbar meets the sacrum. And you start to round slowly, and you notice how easy it is to round between the shoulders. So we try to limit the rounding there a bit. And then as you inhale, the arch position starts first with the vertebra between your ears, and you learn how to articulate the movement of the spine all the way, and the last part is the pelvis. Okay, so the first part as you round is the pelvis as you exhale. And as you inhale, the first part is the vertebra between your ears, and you make that little articulation of the spine. So now try to find your own way to move so that there is some fluidity, but it's not just moving in the areas that are easy for you to move, but you can actually get into the areas which are a little more difficult to communicate with. So almost everyone has a little easier time rounding in their upper back between the shoulder blades. It's not something we need to really teach ourselves. Most of us, we need to actually teach our low back to open and round and stretch. Same thing with the arching. For most of us, it's very easy to arch the lower back and very difficult to arch the spine where the shoulder blades are. So you're trying to educate your body about how to move so that everything is working evenly and you're not exploiting one area over another. 2 more rounds at your own pace. And when you're ready, you're going to round and sit on your heels for child's pose, taking a couple moments, just relax your shoulders. So maybe you want your brain to digest that information you just received. So ideally, in the round position, the lumbar is actually opening, releasing, and stretching. If you feel like your buttocks are way up off your heels, it's probably partly because your low back is so tense that it's never going to leave that tense position enough to allow the sitting bones to release down onto your heels. So you could always supplement by putting something on your heels like a block or a bolster so that your hips actually at some point have that connectivity to receive information from. When the hips are on something, the lumbar will start to release and stretch even more. Last 2 breaths here. Keeping your hips moving back, reach your arms forward, and you can lift your gaze and just make sure that you've placed your hands in a way that is beneficial to your body. Okay, now use your hands and shoulders to continue moving the hips back. Okay, and even as you move the hips back, you're going to lift a little bit up so you can sneak the toes under into the tuck position. Continue moving your hips back, and now see if you can just lift your knees to hover like a centimeter. Keep moving your hips back and very mindfully, slowly lift your legs up until they're straight. And you can separate your feet as wide as the mat or as wide as your hips, whatever feels best to you this morning. Observe your breathing pattern. So again, you're creating a breath that has lots of awareness and consciousness, yet you're not forced or creating tension in the breathing at all. Take 1 more breath, moving the hips back, back, back. And now lift the vertebra between your ears up, start to engage the upper part of your back, and walk your feet slowly forward to meet your hands. You can keep your feet together or separated, your choice, and then inhale, come into Ardha Uttanasana. Chris will show the variation. If you don't have blocks and you need to come up higher, place your hands on your tibia. Okay, if you can, touch the hands either to blocks or the floor. Okay, stretch your spine magnificently, and then as you exhale, drop all the way down. Okay, you can always bend your knees in Uttanasana if you need to, but what we're looking for is that the abdominals contact the quadriceps completely. There's no space or light when you look from the side. The spine is resting on the length of the femur bones. Last 3. Big breaths here. Sideways, lateral movements if you can. 2. 1. Now you're going to keep the knees a little bit bent and we're going to do what's called a rag doll. So you get to practice rounding, not your upper back between the shoulder blades because that's ridiculously boring. You want to learn to round the part above the flat bone of your sacrum so that lumbar spine rounds and it turns the pelvis towards your heels and you can come up in that rounded, stretched position. Good. And then once you get to the top, feel your shoulders relax down. So, one rule of thumb with the shoulders is you should be able to swing your arms a little bit. So just let your arms swing forward and back. Okay, like when you're walking down the street, you don't want to have your shoulders stiff, right? So you want to be able to swing your arms freely. The arms are just hanging from the collarbone. So especially when you move the arms kind of forward and back in a way, go ahead. You should be able to move the arms without having to twist your torso. right? There should be that much fluidity, relaxed feeling in your shoulders. And now move with both arms forward and back at the same time. And now notice how a little bit, as the arms go forward, your hips can kind of go forward with it. Yeah. And then you can start to lift your arms up over your head and back. And the hips can go forward when your arms lift up, and they can go back. There you go. Let your hips start to move with the arms. And then let your spine start to move with the arms. There you go. So that way you start to feel that there is a looseness within this awareness. Yeah, there you go. 2 more of those. Up and back. There you go. And then just let your body rest into Tadasana for a few breaths. So when we actually start this practice of taking the arms up, we have to be able to feel that it's the arms that help us to lift, and the lift is what allows us the freedom to move the hips slightly forward so that eventually the head can go back, and maybe someday you're able to look up at your hands when you do this movement. So let's today just try a few sun salutes, bringing the arms forward instead of out to the side. So rotate your hands in an external rotation. And then as you inhale, you're going to take your arms forward and up, moving your hips slightly forward and your head back. And then fold, exhaling your head down, bending the knees if it's necessary, Uttanasana. Now inhale the arms forward, come all the way up again, head back. And you're going to do this a few times. Exhale, forward, fold, bend the knees if it's necessary. Inhale, external rotation, arms up, head back, hips forward. Much better. Exhale, hands down, last time. Inhale, external rotation, go all the way up. See if you can lean the hips forward and then fold all the breath out as you exhale, Uttanasana. Super. Inhale, elongate. Exhale, bend your knees until your hands can be flat. March your feet back, plank position. Take an inhalation, draw the sides of your forearms in, the wrists up, and then simple downward facing dog. Okay, with your next inhale, you're going to lift your right leg up and back behind you. Exhale, bring your right knee to touch your chest, and step your right foot all the way forward between your hands. Good. Step your left foot to join your right foot. As you inhale, elongate. As you exhale, drop your head down. Externally rotate, take the arms forward and all the way up, hips forward, directly into Uttanasana, fold, bend the knees if it's necessary. Inhale, elongate. Bend the knees if you need to, hands flat. As you exhale, march back. Take your breath in, inhale, plank. Downward facing dog, exhale. Really simple. Inhale, lift your left leg up. Exhale, rounding at the sacrum, knee to chest, step forward. On the inhale, the right foot steps, joins the left foot. As you exhale, Uttanasana. External rotation, bring the arms up, hips forward, head back. Again, directly down, Uttanasana, exhale. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, hands flat, march into plank. Take an inhale in plank, lift your forearms up. Downward facing dog as you exhale. Inhale, lift your right leg up. Exhale, bring your right knee to the chest, step all the way through. Okay, this time lower your left knee down. Please pad the knee if needed, point the toes. Externally rotate the arms forward and all the way up. Maybe the head back, the hips forward slightly. Exhale, both hands down. Curl under the left toes as you inhale, step front, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, drop your head, Uttanasana. External rotation, take the arms forward all the way up, hips forward. Exhale, all the way down last time, Uttanasana. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, march back, top of a push-up plank position. Take an inhale here. Downward facing exhale. Inhale, lift your left leg up. Exhale, knee touches chest, and you step lunge. Right knee down, pad the knee if needed, point the toes. External rotation, arms up, hips forward. Exhale, hands down. Inhale, march to the front, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, descend on Uttanasana. External rotation, arms forward, all the way up, hips slightly forward. Tadasana, exhale. Good. Take a moment, breathe. So these different forms of sun salutations help to create that fluidity so you're not stiff when you're moving, but we're actually channeling and releasing the energy through the feet, through the arms. So when you're ready, externally rotate your arms. Inhale, forward and up, big stretch. Exhale all the way down into Uttanasana. Inhale, the halfway lift, Ardha. Exhale as you step back, top of a push-up position. We're going to hold in plank pose for 5 breaths. Use the knees on the ground if it's too long of a hold. 1, 2, 3, 4, and downward facing dog, keeping the lift in your wrist as much as possible. Good. Now this time we're going to come into plank position. We're going to do a little differently in plank. So you're going to let your knees come down to the ground and you're going to point your toes. And we're going to do a pose called Ashtangasana, knees, chest, and chin. So on an exhalation, you're going to place your chest in between your hands and your chin on the floor in front of you. And you're going to hold here for 5, 4, 3, 2. Now keep your chest as it is and release your hips down all the way onto the ground. And now Cobra, Bhujangasana. And you're going to hold here for 5, 4, 3, engaging the upper part of the spine to move the head back, 2, and elongate the head forward as you come down. Now you're going to press into a tabletop position from here on your knees and hands. Curl your toes under, move like you're going into child's pose, but lift your knees, and as you exhale, Adho Mukha Svanasana. And you can separate the feet in down dog. Take a few moments, breathe here for 3, 2, continuously moving both hips back. Inhale, look forward. Exhale, bend your knees, and inhale, jump. Exhale, crown of the head straight down. Externally rotate your arms. Inhale, hips forward, head back. Directly down, Uttanasana as you exhale, head relaxing. Inhale, halfway up. And again, we're going to do one more time. Plank pose, 5 breaths. So step back. Knees on the ground is an excellent option if this is too much with straight legs. 1. Lifting your inner shoulders up. 2, 3, up, up, up. There you go. 4, up, up, up. There you go. Downward facing dog as you exhale. Okay, we're going to practice the knees, chest, and chin, Ashtangasana. So as you inhale, come into plank. Simply bend your knees, point your toes. And on an exhalation, you're going to bring your chest down between your thumbs. Your little tushies up in the air. Your chin is on the ground for 5. You can point your toes. 4, 3, much better this way. 2, and now slither your pelvis down as you exhale. Inhale, cobra, engaging the upper part of your back and holding for 5, 4, 3, move the spine in here. Yes, 2, very good. Reach the crown of the head forward and come all the way down. Last time, we're going to come up onto the hands and knees. Curl the toes, shift the hips back, and Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. Okay, we're going to be here for 3 breaths. So choose to create a solid foundation with your hands and feet. Lift your hips for 3, 2, 1. Moving the hips back. Exhale, bend your knees. Inhale, jump or walk your feet forward. Exhale, down into Uttanasana. External rotation, reach the arms up, slightly shifting the hips forward, head back. Tadasana, exhale, Samastitihi. Inhale, both arms reach up, Surya Namaskara A. Exhale, both hands down, relax the neck at the bottom. Inhale, lift halfway. Jump or step to Chaturanga. If you're ready, exhale all the way back. Inhale, cobra or upward facing. Exhale, downward facing dog. And just organize your down dog, 5 breaths. So Surya Namaskara A, 2, 3, 4. Continue moving the hips back as you exhale, bend your knees. 5, march or jump, inhale, Ardha. Exhale, relax the neck and head down. Inhale, external rotation, reach your arms up, hips slightly forward. We're going to do one more A salute directly. Exhale, descend on Uttanasana. Halfway, inhale. Jump or step, exhale, Chaturanga. Cobra or Urdhva Mukh, inhale. Adho Mukh, exhale. 5 breaths. So observe your breathing pattern, keeping it smooth and tension-free. Move your hips back a little with each inhale. See if you can maintain that as the spine reaches forward on the exhales. 2, 3, 4. Continue exhaling, bend your knees, look forward, inhale, jump or step. Exhale, crown of the head down. External rotation, arms go forward and all the way up, hips slightly forward. Samastitihi Tadasana. As you exhale, you can just relax your arms down. Take a couple breaths, close your eyes. So feel the inner heels stretching down into the earth's core, reaching and grounding you down. And the opposite of that, your inner ankles, knees, and thighs are lifting up, pushing the energy of the perineum, the spine, even eventually the top of your head, higher. So you have this internal elongation. It all starts by grounding down. That's the only way we can get a return on our investment to go up. Okay, now you're going to open your eyes, externally rotate your arms. This time go out with your arms to the sides and up. And then you're going to sit down into chair pose with your hips. Move your hips back and down. And you're going to breathe here for 5, 4. Engage the upper part of the spine as your shoulders reach. 3, 2. And now Uttanasana, fold your chest down all the way, relax your neck. Inhale, elongate, come halfway up. And now you're going to stay on your fingertips, or at home you might want to use blocks, but you're going to lift your left leg parallel to the yoga mat, flexed foot. Okay, and now you're going to try your best to bend your right leg without letting the left leg fall. So the left leg is actually going up, 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 and the right hip eventually parallel to the yoga mat. Crown of the head, spine forward for 3. Stretch as much as you can with your left leg. 2, and as lightly as you can, touching your left toes to the back of the mat, and then reaching your arms up when you're ready into crescent pose. Good, you're going to take a moment to bring your hands together as you look up. Interlace everything except for your index finger and thumb. Bend your elbows, and now place your hands down at the base of your neck with your elbows squeezing in. As you bend the front knee deep, you're going to start to feel that your spine, as the hips come forward, the head can go back towards your left heel into your arms for 3. Very good. 2. Now straighten your arms if you can. Keep looking up, lift your spine even higher. And then exhale, release your hands down all the way. Step back, top of a push-up. Inhale. Downward facing dog as you exhale. Inhale, come forward into plank. You're going to lower all the way completely down onto the yoga mat as you exhale. Okay, now you can scoot back a little bit. We're going to come onto the elbows. We're going to do some scapula push-ups here on the elbows. So, imagine somebody's fingers were pressing into the upper part of your spine between your shoulder blades. On an inhale, you're going to let the shoulder blades collapse towards the spine, pinching those imaginary fingers. And as you exhale, you're going to push both shoulder blades away. So that would be 1 round. As you inhale, pinch. As you exhale, you separate the shoulders. That's 2. Inhale, pinch. Exhale, you separate. 3. Inhale, you pinch. Exhale, you separate. 4. Last time. Inhale, you pinch. Exhale, you separate. And now you hold the separated feeling, so we protract the shoulder blades. And now, can you keep the protracted feeling in your shoulder blades, yet engage the upper part of your spine, which would then pull your head back towards your heels? So see if you can keep that engagement and the protraction of the shoulder blades. Now curl your toes under, and you're going to come up into a forearms plank here. So the shoulder blades are moving both down away from your ears and out to the side away from the spine. You're breathing here for 3. Feel the inside of your elbow, the inner elbow bone pressing down, 2. Now you're going to drop your head, look towards your toes, and you're going to march your toes. So bend the knees if you need to, but bring your feet as close to your elbows as you can towards dolphin pose, Bhuja Svanasana. And the idea is that the shoulders are not going to collapse down around your neck. There's a feeling of your inner shoulders lifting and the shoulder blades pressing flat on your upper back for 3. Very good. The hips going up, 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 out of the shoulders, 2. And of course, we're going to take a little child's pose after that, releasing your knees, point your toes, take a few breaths. Give yourself a big inhale through the nose, open your mouth when you're ready, let out a little sigh. Stretch your arms forward, downward facing dog. When you're ready, moving the hips back. Okay, you're going to lift your right leg up, open up your right hip, bend the knee, give it a little stretch. Keep moving your hips back as you look forward. Now bring your right knee to the chest, taking the sacrum as high as you can to the ceiling and stepping your foot forward between your hands. Good job. Okay, now you're going to bring your left hand flat, right arm vertical, and we're taking this supposedly easy twist. Good job. So you have to imagine that your left heel is rooted back against the wall, and that gives you enough stability to pull the left side of your spine forward. Now, don't mistake the shoulders coming up by your ears for the movement of the spine. Those are 2 separate things. Last breath. See if you can open your chest wide. Now the right hand down as you exhale. You're going to step forward with your left foot to Ardha Uttanasana. That would be an inhale position. Exhale, Uttanasana. Chair pose, moving the hips back and down as your arms go up. And then you're going to stand up, Tadasana, as you exhale, Samastitihi. Again, take your arms into external rotation, reach sideways and up as you inhale, and sit your hips back and down towards the heels as you exhale. You're going to hold here for 5, 4, good, 3, 2, belly, chest on thighs as you exhale, fold all the way. Good job. Inhale, elongate. So be on blocks or use your fingertips. And now first you're going to lift your right leg up. It's like warrior 3 kind of. It's parallel to the ground. But the exception is that we're bending the left knee like a chair pose. So you have to observe the bipolar tendency of one hip going down parallel, so the left hip going down, and the right leg being pushed up at its root towards the ceiling. Crown of the head, spine reaching forward, opposite of the right leg. Last 3. Last 2, stretch way back, land as light without any sound as possible. Very good. Okay, and then when you're ready, you're going to come up with your arms. So you're balancing in crescent pose. Bring your hands together. If you can remember, interlace so that it's the unusual way with all but your index and thumb interlaced. Take your arms up, bend your elbows, and rest your hands behind your head. So just like when we worked on that first initial Urdhva Hastasana, taking the hips forward, the head can start to go back. Now straighten your arms. Inhale, see if you can lengthen. Exhale, both hands down. From here, you're just going to march into a plank position and downward facing dog as you exhale. Inhale, when you're ready, plank pose. You're going to take a controlled descent through Chaturanga to your belly. Okay, so bring your elbows underneath you, again, like you did before. Okay, so we understand in this position, the shoulders are down away from the ears and away from the spine. Okay, so you try to keep that to the best of your ability, and you're uniting the bottom front ribs and the top of your pelvis, the ASIS, together. So with all of these combined movements, it makes it more interesting now for us to work and articulate the movement of the spinal cord and the muscles along the spinal cord. See if you can do that, and turn your hands flat if you can. And now see if you can lift your elbows just a little mini amount off the ground. Yeah. Don't do it by lifting your shoulders up, keeping the shoulders relaxed down, shoulders wide away from the spine. And then you're gonna move and articulate. So the ears will start to pull back towards your heels. Yes, last 3, very good, Chris. 2, bring your elbows down gently, curl your toes under. We're gonna counter posture with forearms plank when you're ready on an exhale. If you need to, use your knees at home. Okay. So still we have this engagement of the spine, the work of the shoulders down away from the ears and away from each other. And now you're gonna look towards your feet and march your toes towards your elbows. Bend the knees if it's necessary. Breathe here so you feel the height of your inner shoulders. The shoulder blades are away from the spine. Yes. Last 3. 2. Child's pose, very good. Balasana, relax your hips on your heels, relax your shoulders, rest. So you might need to take an inhale through your nose, open your mouth, let out a little ha. Stretch your arms when you're ready, downward facing dog, moving the hips back and letting your hips be the highest, the apex of the pose. Okay, when you're ready, you're gonna lift your left leg, open your hip, bend your knee, give it a little stretch out. Now look up, keep your hips moving up to the ceiling and back towards the wall behind you, and bring your knee to the chest, step your foot quietly between your hands. Good, that's it. The right hand is gonna line up underneath your right shoulder, and when you're ready, the left arm into a vertical position. So we can start by just breathing and opening into the chest. And just notice if for you, can you anchor equally back through your right heel and go forward through the right side of the spine? And just notice if it's maybe the shoulders lifting up by your ears. Try to keep that relaxed and move really from the spine. Last inhale. The left fingertips down as you exhale. Step forward on an inhale, Ardha Uttanasana. And then exhale into Uttanasana. Chair pose. Sit back and down as your arms go up. And then exhale, Tadasana, standing arms down at your side. Very good. Okay, now you're gonna hug your right knee to your chest and stand up nice and tall. And notice the tendency for the left leg to wanna buckle forward. So at the very top of that left outer thigh, we call it the greater trochanter, you're bringing a line of energy around behind your glute towards the opposite heel, towards the right heel. Now, you're simply going to take your right arm and open it behind you, so you're doing like the same lunge twist, but you're now in a standing balancing version. If it's available to you, turn and look towards your right hand and challenge your gaze, Parshva Dristi. And breathe here for 3, 2, and now come back with your right hand to your knee. Hold underneath the thigh and interlace your fingers, and now try to straighten the leg out in front of you. Continue with the spine going up, the shoulders relaxing down. See if you can keep the leg exactly in that balanced position. And then bring your hands to your hips. And breathe for 5. Engaging the lumbars, 3, 2, and release, Samasthiti. Okay, second side, holding the left knee, creating a balance. So the balancing asanas, it's not that their shape is so much different than the other poses, it's just that it works your mind differently. When you're ready, you're gonna open up your left arm behind you. Do your best to not let the right leg go forward, but to pull that outer right thigh back and around towards your left heel, and then maybe your gaze can follow your left hand and you can challenge the dristi. Opening the shoulders, opening the chest, last 2. Bring your left hand around. Now you're going to hold underneath the back of the left thigh. Extend your leg out in front of you. Try not to lean back. Try to keep your spine vertical. Maintain the balance. Transfer your hands to your hips, elbows parallel, and breathe here for 5. Very good. 4. It's not the shoulders, it's the spine. 3. Good. 2. And Tadasana. Exhale. Super. So observe the quality of your attention when you're balancing. It's so nice for the brain to do balancing asanas. Externally rotate your arms. Back into chair pose. Hips back and down as your arms lift up. Inhale. Chest on thighs, exhale, Uttanasana. Ardha, inhale, halfway up. March or jump back through a vinyasa or direct into down dog. Inhale. Lifting the wrists as you exhale. Inhale, lift your right leg up. Warrior 1 position. So you can open the feet a little wider if you want. Good, come all the way up. Now, you're going to straighten your front leg completely. Release your arms behind your back and interlace your fingers. Now, do your best to lift the front of your pelvis, the anterior pelvis up. Reach back with your attention into the left heel so the back leg doesn't buckle, it doesn't bend. And you're only going to bend just the right leg, if you can, 90 degrees, keeping your pelvis upright. Good. Take a big inhale. And then you're going to reach your spine forward and down to the inside of your right thigh. Let the arms, the shoulders go up to the ceiling and the arms come overhead. And we're going to breathe here for 5. 4. Challenge the bend of the front leg without the left leg changing. 2. Back into warrior 1. Swing your arms forward all the way up. See if you can make a long line of energy, maybe hands touch. Exhale, both hands down. You're coming into plank position or down dog. Chaturanga is a possibility as you exhale. Inhale, cobra or urdhva. Exhale, Adho Mukha. The left leg up as you inhale. Warrior 1, exhale. Virabhadrasana A. Turn the back foot. Come up with both arms. Okay, now we're going to straighten out the front leg. You're going to organize and lift your pelvis up and then release the hands. If you can remember, you're crossing the unusual fingers on top. Okay, so stable back leg. You're not going to let the inner knee bend at all. You're only going to bend the front leg, if possible, at a 90 degrees angle. Take an inhale as your abdomen lifts up. And then exhale as you go forward and down towards the earth. Let your arms, shoulders lift up and come over your head as you breathe here. So 5 breaths. 1, 2, there you go. 3, 4, releasing the arms forward, external rotation as you reach up. 5, touch. Exhale, hands down. Step either down dog or chaturanga on an exhalation. Inhale, cobra or urdhva. Exhale, Adho Mukha. Taking a couple breaths in down dog. See if you can breathe naturally. 1, 2, 3, 4. Look up. Exhale, bend your knees. And 5, march or jump. Inhale, elongate. Exhale, Uttanasana. Chair pose. Last time. Bend your knees, arms up. Tadasana, exhale, Samastiti. Okay, now we're going to take a forward bend. So separate your feet a little larger than your hips apart. Bring your hands to your hips. Take an inhale. And then as you exhale, you're going to fold all the way down to the ground. Hold your big toes for Parangushtasana. Inhale, lift, elongate. And then as you exhale, fold elbows wide to the side. So as your head relaxes down, make sure you don't have any tension in your neck. You can let the shoulders do the opposite, which goes up as your head goes down. So your inner shoulders are cleared away from the base of your neck. Last 2. And 1. Inhale, halfway lifting up. Parahastasana. Bring your hands underneath, toes touch wrist. Again, inhale, lean forward. Exhale, release your head and release your wrists. And breathe. Okay, so again, if you have long arms, you can bend your elbows slightly out. Use that to open the inner shoulder blades, but the shoulder blades are still lifting like they did in dolphin pose. Last 2. And last one. Inhale, lift your head up. Exhale, hands to your hips. Back to the vertical position as you inhale. And you can close your feet as you exhale, Samastitihi. Okay. Take your arms into external rotation. Reach forward and up as you inhale. Okay. Now, you're going to keep this exact same line of energy, but as you exhale, you're going to start to move your left leg back into Warrior 3 and your torso and arms parallel to the front of the mat. So again, it's a balancing asana. You're going to breathe here in the third warrior. 1, 2, 3, 4. Last inhale. Standing splits. Bring your hands down. Bend your standing leg if you need to. Try instead to keep the lifted leg straight. And then you can walk your hands back. So one variation is to take your ankle with your hand, or both hands if you want more of a challenge. Really point the crown of your head down towards the yoga mat. Last 3. Last 2. And now bring your hands down. So from here, we're going to practice Parivrita Trikonasana. So you're only going to step your left foot back like 70 centimeters from your right heel. Line up either heel to heel or a little wider. There's two schools of thought. And you can have your left hand either on the block on the inside, or you can transfer your left hand to the block on the outside of your right foot. When you're ready, take your right arm out and all the way up. So your right arm and shoulders stack above your left. Okay. The main idea is that you can press into the outside edge of your left foot, so the left leg, like Warrior 1, is straight, and it's the spine on the left side that lengthens, and then the shoulder blade helps you to turn around and create that twisted effect. Last 2. And now release. Both hands on the blocks, if you're using it, or on fingertips. Take an inhale, elongate your spine forward. And then as you exhale, try to bring your abdomen down onto the top of the right quadricep. Do your best not to just round from your neck and shoulders, because again, this is just not constructive for us. You could do it once in a while, but really if you do it every single time, your spine will never ever progress. Last 3. 2, and 1. Inhale, look up, and you're going to bring your back left foot forward to join your right foot. Extend both sides of the spine evenly, and then as you exhale, fold and release your head down. Inhale, both arms come all the way up. You can move the hips slightly forward. Okay, now you're going to keep the shape, and it's just the right leg that's going to go back. The torso and arms, Virabhadrasana 3, or C. And you're going to hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, and standing splits. Bring your hands down. Bend the left knee if you need to, but try to straighten the right leg. Once you get reasonably deep, you can challenge yourself by holding the ankle. That can be with the outside or both hands. Point the crown of the head down. Last breath. And then you're going to release your fingertips to the ground, and in the most controlled way you can, step your right heel back 70 centimeters behind your left heel, heel to heel or a little bit wider. You're setting up the feet for Parivrita, Revolve Trikonasana, triangle pose. Use your right hand either on the inside block or the outside block, and then take your left arm out and all the way open towards the ceiling, turning your chest. So to the best of your ability, connect into the outside edge of your right foot. It's not to say that all 4 corners are not down. All 4 corners are down. But it's like somebody's big toe is pushing into your outer right heel, and you can stabilize that back leg, and from there you can move the right side of your spine forward. Open the shoulders rather than lifting them by your ears, and turn from underneath that right shoulder blade. Last breath in. Unwind as you exhale, fingers on the blocks. Inhale, elongate, maximum stretch. Exhale your abdomen down onto your left quad. And, you know, the head is not going to touch the leg for almost all of us for maybe even the entire span of our yoga career. It's okay. 2 more breaths. 1 more breath. Inhale, look up. March your right leg to join your left leg, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, descend on Uttanasana. Okay, we can take the blocks off to the side. And inhale all the way up, both arms overhead. See if you can let the hips slightly stretch forward, head back, and fold into Uttanasana directly as you exhale all the breath out. Vinyasa, inhale, look forward. Chaturanga or down dog as you exhale, march or jump. Inhale, Urdhva. Exhale, Adho Mukha. Very good. Okay. Inhale, you're going to step your right foot forward. Left heel is going to come at a 45-degree angle. Okay, both arms up. Virabhadrasana. Now you're going to bring your hands down into a prayer position, and you're going to straighten both legs for a moment. Again, connect into that back left heel. Very good. Solid back left leg. And maybe if anything is moving, it's just the top part of your left hip, the ASIS, coming around towards your right front heel. Okay. Now, keep the pelvis lifting up as much as you can. Without bending the back leg, you're going to bend, if possible, 90 degrees in the front leg. And on an exhale, turn your left elbow to the outside of the right knee. Some of you, the shoulder to the outside of the right knee. So we're doing Parivrita Parshvakonasana. And you're going to breathe here for 5. 4, 3, ooh yeah, 2, super, and 1. Release your hands down. Okay, you're going to turn onto your back toes. You're going to lower your back knee down. Some of you at home might need some extra padding underneath that back knee. Okay, point your toes behind you. Okay, and now you're going to come into half Hanuman or full Hanuman. So some of you might need to add props for Hanuman. So feel free to just do the half variation and to keep the front leg straight and the back knee with its prop underneath the hip. Okay? Or you can move the back leg into full extension, and as the leg goes further into extension, obviously it becomes more challenging to keep your pelvis upright. So you choose your battle at home, whatever is appropriate. Breathing is, of course, very, very advantageous to going deeper into these poses. Last 3. Last 2. And 1. So you're going to start to move your buttocks back, slide your heel back, bend your knee. Okay, and now you're going to come into a position where you can move your foot forward just a little bit, kind of a long lunge. Okay, and now you're going to ditch the blocks, or you could use a block under the left hand. Okay, and now what you're going to do is you're going to take your right hand to your right hip, and you're going to heel toe your right foot towards a little bit the right, and now lift just your toes up and turn your toes out, external rotation. Good. And then you can let your hips maybe go down to the ground a little more, so that could be interesting. Or some of you can come onto your left elbow. So all of these are variations. And now reach back with your right hand and bend your back knee and hold the foot. Yeah. So again, we're moving into a very deep hip stretch, but it includes a twist. Very good. And breathe. Last 3. 2. Release your right hand down to the yoga mat. Release your left toes into the tucked position. And straighten your arms. And when you're ready, you're going to step back into downward facing dog, just directly to release the twist. Good. Inhale, shift, come into a plank. Lower completely all the way down. Okay, now you're going to come onto your elbows. And we're going to do Ardha Bekasana, so half frog. So you're going to bend your right knee, and with your right hand, reach for the inside edge of your foot. Yeah, bring the heel towards you, so that's the first stage. And if you can get the heel towards you, then you lift your elbow up and you turn your fingers to face forward and you start to press your foot down. Eventually, one day, the heel maybe comes to the mat. And you do your very best at rolling the sacrum away from the lumbar, so there's going to be a little more weight on the pubic bone side. Last 3, 2, this is the juicy upper quadricep stretch, and release. We're going to do the other side, so bending the left knee when you're ready, holding the instep of your left foot. So first you bring the foot towards you, then the elbow can lift up, and maybe then you can rotate your fingers to point forward, and you can start to press down with your foot rather than pulling it. Monitor what's happening, the weight in your pelvis, so ideally the weight is shifting towards the pubic bone, and that's going to give you a little bit more juicy upper quadricep connectivity. Last 2. And release completely. Okay, now you're going to come onto your elbows for forearms plank. So for those of you at home who need to use your knees, do it on your knees. Okay, look back towards your toes. And now you're going to walk your feet towards dolphin. Walking up to your elbows, bend the knees if you need to. Okay, now look up. And you're going to bring your chin to hover in line with your hands. Keep the shoulders resisting back. And go back to dolphin pose. 2 more times. Look up, bring your chin forward, and inhale, hips back. Last time. Look up, exhale, chin forward, inhale, up, and rest. Child's pose. Very good. Take a couple breaths. So dolphin being an inversion, a little bit more severe, especially when we're taking those variations. It's good to take a moment to just let your nervous system come back to a good, calm state. When you're ready, reach your arms forward. Monitor the hips, so push them back as you curl the toes under. Keep pushing them back as you lift the knees, Adho Mukha, downward facing dog. Good. And then when you're ready, lift your left leg all the way up. Look forward, Virabhadrasana. You're stepping into the first warrior. You can have your feet wider than heel to heel if you need to. Now lower your hands into prayer at your heart, straighten your front leg. So we're going to set up the back leg, getting it very stabilized. And it's not the leg turning forward. It's really an isolation of just the upper hip turning around the leg towards the front foot. See if you can keep that and the lift of your pelvis, and then bend, if possible, 90 degrees in the front leg. On an exhalation, when you're ready, bring the right elbow or shoulder across to the outside of the knee thigh. Parivrita, revolves. Parsvakonasana. So the leg is going to be stable. It's as if you're pushing your outer heel into a wall behind you. You could do that at home since you don't have me there. Then you can turn and move, not the leg, but the upper part of the hip around. And it's going to happen little by little. It's not going to be a big movement. It's going to be subtle. And last breath in. Exhale, unwind your hands to the ground. Okay, you're going to come onto the back knee. So lift your heel. Pad the knee if necessary. And we're going to do Hanuman or half, Ardha Hanuman. For those of you at home, you might need to grab some pillows from your couch. You might need to put your hands on 2 tables. Do what you can do to be able to access allowing the pelvis to go into an upright, neutral position while taking the right leg further into extension. The more the leg goes into extension, the more the pelvis wants to do that anterior tilting, which is not desirable here. Okay, last 2 breaths. Now you're going to start to pull your buttocks back, slide your heel back, bend your knee. It's going to be a little bit of a longer version of a lunge. So you could use the hand on a block, the right hand, if you wanted to. It's not necessary, so you can take the blocks off to the side. Now you're going to bring your left hand to touch your left hip, and you're going to heel toe the left foot slightly to the left. Turn your toes out at an angle and let your hips slightly come down. Maybe you're coming onto your elbow for some of you at home. And then bend your back right leg with your left hand. You're reaching across. So there's a twist combined into this situation. Good. Notice if your shoulder blades have a consistent trajectory of going up to the ears. So this is just your body's way of finding length without doing it from the spine. Relax the shoulders, engage the spine. You'll be much happier over the long haul. Last two. Bring your left hand down, come up onto your right hand, curl your back toes, and just simple down dog transition, stretching it out. When you're ready, come into plank. And as a controlled movement, you're going to go down slowly to your belly. Okay. Now again, we're going to do forearms plank. So here we are again. Okay, hands flat, elbows in line with your shoulders, curl your toes under and come up. Okay, so this is all core stable movement here. Now look towards your feet, walk your feet towards your hands. Okay, now you're gonna look up, you're gonna bring your chin forward, and then when you come back, you're gonna straighten your arms. And then you're going to lower your elbows down. You're going to bring your chin forward. You're going to come up and you're going to try to straighten your arms. One more time. Elbows down, chin forward, downward facing dog, and then child's pose. Good work. And relax. Take a couple breaths. You're probably feeling the outer part of your shoulders and arms, so let that area relax. You can feel it without continuing to create tension. Let it go. And when you're ready, stretch your arms forward, continue moving the hips back, curl your toes. Downward facing dog. Good. Okay. Now, you're going to jump through and sit, or you can just lower to your knees, spin your feet around if that's better for you. Okay, now you're going to take your legs straight and we're going to practice Ardha Matsyendrasana. Okay, so you're going to cross the right heel to the outside of your left leg. So some of you at home, this might be actually where you stop in constructing the pose. But if you can, you're going to lean onto the left hip, bend your left knee, and bring your left heel outside your right hip. And just see how that feels. Okay. Now, you can use a block underneath your right hand behind you or not. So if you're using a block, we use the fingertips. That way we don't become so dependent upon it. And now take your left arm into a vertical position going up. Okay? You're going to go up, up, up with your left kidney as you inhale, and then you're going to turn and bring the left shoulder to the outside of the right knee. Very good. And you're going to do your very best to take the right shoulder blade away from the spine as you twist. So we try not to use the shoulders, but we try to really do more work with the core body. And breathing here for 3. 2. Now look forward, turn and look towards the left shoulder if you can. Feel your right shoulder still staying passive. And then release. Okay, from here, you're going to try to stack your knees. So straighten your bottom leg for a second. So if you're having a difficult time, you just keep the bottom leg straight and you just bring the top right knee on top. If you can, again, you do the same thing where you keep the knees both equally bent and we do what's called Gomukhasana. Okay, also another supplement would be to take the cushion underneath your hips. So it gives your spine just a little bit more happiness. Okay. I know there's a lot of different ways to do this, but in Ashtanga we do same. So whatever knee is on top, in this case right, you take the right arm forward. And the shoulder blade pushes the arm away from the spine and you go up towards the ceiling. And then you bend the elbow behind your head and you use your left hand to hold the elbow there. So this top arm is doing dolphin pose, right? The outside of the shoulder blade is coming around. The outer tricep is going towards the tip of the nose. Okay, now the left arm is going to go parallel like an airplane. You're going to do internal rotation. Bend your elbow, reach back, and see if you can set your hand on your upper back. Yeah, if you cannot hold your fingers, hold your shirt, hold your ponytail, hold the strap instead. You're just going to take a couple breaths. feeling that when we stretch the shoulders, it allows the spine to become more activated. Last 3. Oh yeah, good job. Even the head might be able to press back into that top elbow a little bit, not forcefully, but just a little. 2. And now you're going to let your arms go out to the side like a giant airplane stretch. Stretch your chest and shoulders wide. And now bring your hands onto the floor in front of you. If this is too much, just stay seated, or you can walk down until your chest hangs out over your top knee. And this is going to be, I think for most of us, a little bit intense. So do breathe. One more. Good. And then when you're ready, you're going to come all the way up, walking your hands towards you. Move your hands behind your hips. And I'm going to say, for almost all of us, point the fingertips away from your hips. Okay, lean back a little bit and free your legs, extending your legs. Yeah, good. Give your legs a moment to breathe. Okay, and now separate your feet so they're hip distance apart. Okay, and now you're going to press your hips forward and up into a baby Purvottanasana, just to counterpose the hips a little bit. Yeah, that's it, good. And you lift your hips tremendously up to the ceiling. Last 3, last 2, and last 1. Release all the way down. Good. Okay, straighten your legs for a moment. Then you're going to bend your left knee, cross your heel ankle to the outside. So some of you are going to stay here. This is a great modification on Ardha Matsyendrasana. Or bend your right leg, bring your right heel outside your hip. Okay, and then if you're using a block under your left hand, it's always the fingertips. The moment you put your hand flat, the pose is finished. There's no point. It would be better just to go home. Okay, take your left arm up, so this helps to liberate the kidney. Take an inhale, and then you're turning from the right kidney. You're bringing your shoulder or your elbow down outside the knee. Very good. Okay, now where we get into trouble is that we use the shoulders to twist, and that is not going to be useful. So the shoulder stays relaxed, the elbow over the left wrist, and you're moving instead from the spine. So this is what makes our spine healthy and resilient, is that it has mobility and strength. Ah, good. The shoulders staying relaxed, the spine gets to engage. Last 2. Now look forward or all the way to the right shoulder if your neck will allow. Notice if your little left shoulder got activated. Relax it down. And then release. Unwind the twist slowly. So you can do Ardha Gomukhasana with the bottom right leg straight, or you can always elevate on a little cushion here. We have so many blocks. Okay, so we're going to start with the left arm moving forward. So this technically is called upward scapular rotation. The shoulder blade is moving forward and it's rotating the arm up. Bend your elbow and use your right hand just to situate yourself. You feel that the outer left tricep turns towards the tip of the nose. The outer shoulder blade is coming around towards the chest. Then take your left arm like an aeroplane, and you're going to do internal rotation. Bend the elbow, reach back, and place your hand as high as you can. Different. Use your ponytail, your t-shirt, or a belt. And then as your spine becomes more activated, there is a possibility that the head will start to press back into the top arm. Yes, the shoulder blade will come onto your back like a little hand, helping to give you that extra bit of elevation. Last 2. Now open your arms like a big airplane, stretch out first. And then bring your fingertips on the ground in front of you, and you decide how far forward you come into flexion based upon what you experience here. And you might notice a drastic difference between right and left. It's totally normal. We all have that. Last 3. 2. And 1. You're going to come all the way up. Place your hands behind you. Do it with the fingers pointing away from your hips. Good. Unwind your legs into the front. And then when you're ready, bend your knees. Set your feet a little larger than your hips. You can take your feet a little wider than that. Yeah. And then when you're ready, the hips are going to go forward and up towards the back of the knees. That's it. And you're lifting your hips to be the highest point, so the apex of the pose. And you're breathing here for 5, 4, 3, 2, and release. Super. Good job. Okay, Paschimottanasana legs. Extend your legs forward, flexed feet. Okay, we're going to take the arms all the way up overhead. So this gives you just a little bit more space. And then reach forward first. Go as far forward as you can, and then grab whatever is possible. You're going to take another little wave. So you're going to inhale, lift the abdomen, push it forward, and then as you exhale, fold. Breathing sideways into your lateral rib cage. Great, like that. One more breath, feeling the top of your head magnetized to the big toes. And then bring the ears up first. Feel the articulation of the spine all the way. And you're going to come lying down on your back when you're ready. Good. Okay, now you're going to cross your right ankle over your left thigh. Now you could just push your little right fingers into your knee and help assist the knee at moving away from the right shoulder. Okay, or if you feel like you can do that without your right hand helping, then instead bring the legs in and hold the back of your left thigh. So still the right knee is moving away from the right shoulder, ideally, to the best of our abilities. One more breath in. Okay, now you're going to take a hold of the outer right ankle with your right hand. And with your left hand, you're going to hold your left foot. And you're going to set your left foot on the ground or legs straight, your choice. Now, you're going to use your left hand to turn the sole of the foot towards your face, like you're looking at the screen of your iPhone, and it's on the sole of your foot. And you're going to use your right hand to support the ligaments of the outer right ankle, so they're not going to overstretch with your hand there to support. Okay, now you're going to take a big breath in. And now you're going to bring your heel towards your third eye and your third eye towards your heel while pushing the knee away from your shoulder, all at the same time. See if you can bring the heel up. There you go. Up. There you go. And then turn the knee away. Yeah, last 3. Good job. 2. Good job. Now, keep your foot there. Lower just your head down. And now you're going to bring your heel to your pubic bone. And you're going to let, if the heel touches your pubic bone, the knee move away from your shoulder so much that it starts to go into a half lotus, Ardha Padmasana. And you're going to hold the top of your left or top of your right foot with your left hand for 3, 2, and release your right leg straight for a second. Make sure your knee feels groovy. And then bend your knees, set your feet on the floor, cross your left over right thigh. So if you're staying with just this variation and just pushing the knee forward, stay here. It doesn't matter. Even if it takes you a decade here, it doesn't have anything to do with you as a person. It's just your hips. Okay, if you can do that without your left hand assisting you, reach for the back of your right leg and bring your legs in. And still the internal hip activation is keeping the knee moving away from the left shoulder. Again, if you stay here, that's your prerogative. Take care of your body, do what's necessary so that you can make progress. But if you can join us going on, you're going to bring your left hand to cup to hold the outer left ankle ligaments. The right hand holds the foot, the big toe, baby toe. Okay, and then you can take your right foot down or leg straight. Now you're going to use your right hand to turn the foot towards the face, and the left hand is supporting the ankle ligaments. You're always turning the knee away, and then when you're ready, you're going to think of your heel lifting and coming to your third eye lifting and coming to your heel. And eventually, as the knee goes away, your heel is going to come up and just tap your third eye, maybe even eventually the crown of your head. Last 3. Good. 2. Now keep your heel going back towards your head and let your head run away and gently release down. Now bring your heel to your pubic bone, and if you can touch your heel to your pubic bone, it means your knee is ready to move all the way away from you and down into the half lotus pose. Good. And last 3 breaths here. And then you can release. Let your left leg extend out. Make sure your knee feels okay. And then reach down with both hands, hold your knees, and give yourself a little squeeze. Okay, and now we're going to practice Sharvangasana, shoulder stand. So when you're ready, bring your hands down flat. If you're not practicing Sharvangasana, take your legs over to a wall, Viparita Karani. Okay, or you can do headstand as well. So when you're ready, you're going to bring your legs up into the vertical position. Press your hands down, lift your hips all the way up, and bring your hands to support your lumbar or thoracic spine. Okay, take a couple breaths, and just make sure that you have at least a mini space between your chin and the manubrium top of your sternum. Okay, now what you're going to do is look up at your feet and try to turn your toes out like a ballerina so the heels are in. Good. Now you're going to bend your right leg, and you're going to bring the heel towards the front of your hip, but you're going to move the knee away. So it's like a half lotus. Okay. Keep turning your left toes out, bend your left knee, keep moving the right knee away, and bring the left heel in front to the best of your ability. Breathe here for 3. Good. That's it. 2. And now take your legs up. We're going to do the other side. So you're going to start with your legs just like a ballerina, turning out the toes to the side. Bend your left knee. Set your left heel as close to your groin on the right leg as you can. And then push the knee away, away, away. The more the knee goes away, the more you're going to be able to bring the right heel down to the front of the leg. Eventually. Yeah, good. You've got to kind of make a little momentum even. Yeah, there you go. Good. And then take your legs up. Roll the legs into a neutral position once they're vertical. Okay, and now bend both knees and just touch your knees onto your forehead for a couple breaths. You can walk your hands a little closer to your shoulder blades if that's available, and give your upper back a little bit more lift. Now, if it feels okay on your neck here, try bringing the knees down beside your ears and letting your feet come to the floor. Karna Pindasana. Release your hands onto the ground. Take your time, vertebra by vertebra, and you're going to slowly roll out. Keep your head back on the mat. Don't ever let the head come off the ground. Take your time with control. And we're going to practice from here, Matsyasana, the fish pose. So when you're ready, press into your elbows. Come up either hovering or onto the crown of the head. You're opening the Vishuddha chakra, which is the throat chakra, color blue. And then lift your head just at least a little bit and release. Very good. Okay, bend your knees, hug your knees one more time into your chest. And now you're going to take your knees over to the right side and you're going to twist your knees like we did before in the Jaritara Parvattanasana, but this time it's just more relaxed, reclining twist. So when you breathe, you can feel it's more difficult to expand forward, so the sideways movement of the ribs is actually more advantageous here, since your abdominals are blocked in the twist. You might even feel a little stretch around those muscles above the kidneys. And then when you're ready, you're going to come to the center. That would be an inhalation. Change the second side of the twist as you exhale. With your next inhale, come back to the center, and we're going to finish with happy baby pose. So hold the outside edges of your feet, drop the knees down, take a couple moments, really relax the shoulders, let the arms just hang from the feet here. Breathe. And then when you're ready, release your feet onto the ground. So we are going to take Shavasana. Those of you who have preferences for propping up your legs or propping up your head, go ahead and grab all of the little props that are needed. You can bring the legs into a slight external rotation. Hands, arms in any position, shoulders relaxed. When you feel ready, close your eyes, let go of deep, controlled breathing. You want to first just let your body be held by the earth. She is plenty stable and strong enough to hold up each of us, to hold all of our energies. So let the depth of the hip sockets and shoulder sockets get a little bit heavier, the eyes a little heavier in their sockets, the brain resting in the back of your skull. We move into this really subtle energy of relaxation, bit by bit, breath by breath, as you start to go into the inner world, letting go of the outer practice. And take a slightly deeper breath in. Let it go. And just really gentle movements, toes and fingers to begin. You can roll your feet into a neutral position and start to bring your heels up onto the prop or onto the mat with your knees bent. If you want to take a stretch with your arms, stretch your arms in every or any direction that feels good. So reconnecting to this physical body, this physical place in the world. And when you're ready, reach down with your hands, hold your knees, give yourself a little gentle hug. So much gratitude for what our body puts up with. Roll over to one side. Take a few moments, as many moments as is necessary for you to complete this transition energetically. And then you can come up and take a seat in a Sukhasana or comfortable seated position of your choice with your hands at your heart in Anjali Mudra. And we bring our gaze into the fingertips, into the heart. Gratitude for practice, gratitude for the energy and the means to be on the yoga mat.